we live our lives in a state of carefully managed anonymity. We order our food with a click, and a stranger arrives at our door, a brief, silent transaction in the night. We trust them, without a second thought, to bring us a meal, and then disappear, back into the anonymity from which they came. But what if they're not just delivering a meal? What if they're delivering a message, a piece of a story that you were never meant to be a part of? I thought I was just ordering a late-night dinner. I didn't realize I was inviting a collector, a man who was hungry for a new story. And my life was the final dish. It was a late Tuesday night, and I was working on a deadline, completely engrossed in my laptop. The hunger pangs hit, and without thinking, I opened up a new food delivery app and ordered from a place I'd never heard of. The Twilight Kitchen, a small, unassuming spot with a weird, vaguely unsettling logo. The delivery time was estimated to be an hour, but the driver arrived in 10 minutes, a feat of impossible speed. He was a tall, thin man with a bizarrely serene expression, a look of profound, unsettling calm that made my skin crawl. He handed me the food, a heavy, brown paper bag, and his eyes, which were a startlingly pale blue, held my gaze for a long, uncomfortable moment. "It's a special delivery," he said, his voice a low melodic whisper that was devoid of emotion. "It's for you." He turned and was gone, a silent, ghostly figure disappearing into the night, leaving me with a heavy, brown paper bag and a profound sense of wrongness. I dismissed his strangeness as the eccentricities of a late-night worker. I took the bag to the kitchen, and as I opened it, a new sense of unease washed over me. The food was not what I had ordered. I had ordered a simple pasta dish, but the container held a single, perfectly cooked piece of meat, a dark, rich red color that was glistening under the dim kitchen light. But the shape was wrong. It was a bizarre, unsettling concoction, a spiraled, intricate shape that was not from any animal I had ever seen. The smell was also wrong. It wasn't the smell of a normal meal. It was a strange, sickly sweet scent, like old perfume mixed with something else, something I couldn't place. My appetite was gone, replaced by a profound, chilling curiosity. The buzzing sound from the sound design, a constant, low drone, began to echo in my head. My paranoia built to a fever pitch. I couldn't shake the feeling that the food wasn't a meal, but a message, a carefully curated dish with a sinister purpose. My phone, which was still open to the delivery app, began to receive a series of strange messages. They were from the delivery driver, but they weren't about the food. They were cryptic, disjointed, and utterly terrifying. "It's a gift," one of them read. "The first piece of a story. He's waiting for you." The words were an insidious, low-volume chorus of scorn and judgment, and I was the subject of their constant, disembodied gossip. I tried to block the driver, but the messages kept coming, from a different number, a different app, a different source. They were always a single, cryptic sentence, always a new piece of a terrifying puzzle. I was trapped, a guest in a home that had been built for me, a performance space for a story that was not my own. The buzzing in my mind grew louder, a maddening, relentless beat that was a countdown to a climax I didn't want to be a part of. I began to investigate the food, a morbid curiosity overriding my fear. I turned the container over, and on the bottom, I found a small, intricate carving, a symbol that was eerily familiar. It was a spiral, a collection of interlocking circles that I had seen before in an old, local urban legend about a secret society, a group of people who dealt in human flesh, a horrifying, cannibalistic cult that was a part of the city's dark history. My heart stopped. The food wasn't a joke. It wasn't a mistake. It was a part of a story, a terrible, violent, and utterly depraved narrative that was now a part of my life. The buzzing from the sound design was deafening now, a mad, frantic beat that was coming from every corner of the room. The food, which had been a still, inert object, began to move. It was a slow, deliberate movement, a faint, rhythmic pulse. That was a heartbeat, a life that was still inside the food, a horrifying, grotesque life that was now a part of my home, a piece of a story that was now a part of me. The climax came in the middle of the night. The buzzing was deafening, a mad, frantic beat that was coming from every corner of the room. I received a final, terrifying text from the delivery app, a message from the driver that simply said, "I'm outside. I'm here for the rest of your story." A slow, deliberate, rhythmic knock came from the front door. It wasn't a friendly knock. It was a percussive, final sound. The sound of a door being opened, slowly, deliberately. The sound of footsteps, slow and heavy, coming into the house. I was frozen in terror, hiding in the closet, the food on the kitchen table, a silent, terrifying centerpiece to a story that was now a part of my life. The footsteps stopped outside the closet door, and the light from the hallway poured in, illuminating my terrified face. I managed to escape, screaming, running out of the apartment in a blind panic. I didn't stop until I was miles away, at a police station, a hysterical wreck. The police found nothing. The apartment was empty, the food was gone, and the delivery driver, the man with the pale blue eyes, had disappeared from the app. The experience left me with a lasting, profound sense of trauma. The buzzing of a faulty neon sign is a constant reminder of the night I invited a stranger into my life, and the knowledge that the food wasn't a meal, but a message, and the driver, he's still out there, waiting for the next person to become a part of his story. The app, I've learned, still has a Twilight Kitchen on its list, and I wonder, with a cold, lasting dread, who will be the next person to order from it. We are all a series of data points, a collection of photos and posts, and digital trails that we leave behind. We think we have control over our digital lives, that the person we present to the world is the one we want them to see. But sometimes, a complete stranger is the one who truly knows us, who has collected every detail, every snapshot, every fleeting moment of our lives. They can use that knowledge to create a horrifying, alternate reality. A digital doppelganger that is so perfect, so complete, that it can steal your life and leave you with nothing but a lingering sense of terror. I thought I was just ordering a late-night dinner. I didn't realize I was inviting my own ghost to my door. It was a cold, rainy night, and I was curled up on the couch, watching a movie. My phone buzzed with a notification from a food delivery app. I had placed an order for some pizza, and I was just looking for a quick, easy meal. The app showed me the name and profile picture of the person who was delivering my food. His name was Marc, and his picture was me. Not a similar face, not a vague resemblance, but my face. A shockingly perfect, beautiful, high-quality photo of my own face, smiling back at me from the app. My heart stopped. It was a flawless picture, the kind you'd see in a professional headshot, and it was a picture I didn't remember taking. My mind raced, trying to find a rational explanation. It must be a glitch, a bug in the app, a cruel, elaborate joke. I was terrified, but also morbidly curious. I kept staring at the screen, at the ghost of myself, my own face wearing a smile. That felt utterly foreign. The delivery driver arrived a few minutes later, and it was a completely different person. A normal, average man in his late 20s, with brown hair and a polite, neutral expression. He handed me the pizza, and our transaction was quick and uneventful. I was so relieved that I almost forgot to check the food. But as I closed the door, a new sense of unease washed over me. The profile picture was still there, a perfect replica of myself, smiling back at me from the app. The clicking sound from the sound design, a constant, low reminder of a camera shutter, began to echo in my mind. It was a sound that was not in the room, but in my head, a terrifying, incessant clicking that was the soundtrack to my burgeoning paranoia. The haunting began with the notifications. My phone started to receive messages from a new, unknown number. The messages were about my food, my order, my life. They were from the delivery driver, but the name on the profile was my own, and the profile picture was a new photo of me, a candid shot of me from inside my home, taken from a distance, without my knowledge, just moments ago. My heart would pound in my chest every time I heard the notification tone. The messages were a torrent of gaslighting and menace, all of them in a friendly, conversational tone. "I hope you like your pizza," one of them read. "I saw you were watching a movie. I hope you're enjoying it. I saw you get a text from your mom. You should call her back." The messages were a constant, terrifying reminder that I was not alone. My paranoia built to a fever pitch. I locked myself in my apartment, the blinds drawn tight, and I began searching my phone for a sign, any sign, that I was not insane. I went back to the app, to the delivery driver's profile, and I saw a horrifying, new detail. His profile was no longer just a single picture of me. It was a gallery, a collection of photos of me, a curated timeline of a life that was stolen. There were pictures of me walking my dog, a shot of me at a coffee shop, a picture of me in a library, all of them taken from a distance, without my knowledge. The photos were a disturbing collection, a silent, terrifying testament to the fact that my life was no longer my own. The clicking sound from the sound design was deafening now, a maddening, relentless beat that was a countdown to a climax I didn't want to be a part of. The smiling face in the photos, the ghost of myself, was a constant, haunting reminder that my identity was no longer my own. The climax came in the middle of the night. I received a final, terrifying text from the delivery app, a message from the driver that simply said, "You can't hide from me. I'm already you." A slow, deliberate, rhythmic knock came from the front door. It wasn't a friendly knock. It was a percussive, final sound. The sound of a door being opened, slowly, deliberately. The sound of footsteps, slow and heavy, coming into the apartment. I was frozen in terror, hiding in the closet, the phone in my hand, the profile picture of myself a silent, terrifying centerpiece to a story that was now a part of my life. The footsteps stopped outside the closet door, and a voice, my own voice, but with a chilling, robotic stillness, whispered my name. "I'm here," it said. I looked through the crack in the closet door, and it was me. Not the driver, but a perfect, terrifying replica of myself. Standing in the middle of my living room, my own face wearing a smile that was a mask of pure malice. I managed to escape, screaming, running out of the apartment in a blind panic. I didn't stop until I was miles away. The police found nothing. The apartment was empty. The food was gone, and the delivery driver's profile had been deleted. The experience left me with a lasting, profound sense of trauma. I can no longer look at my own reflection without a profound sense of fear. The person who stole my life is still out there, and the narrator is left with the terrifying knowledge that her identity is no longer her own, and the life she once had is now a performance for a person who is wearing her face. The clicking of a camera shutter is a constant reminder of the moment my life was stolen, and the knowledge that the person who took it is still out there. Living a life that was mine is a fear that will never leave me. The food delivery wasn't just a delivery, it was a predator. The worst part of being alone in the dead of night isn't the isolation. It's the moment you realize you're not alone at all. It's the moment you realize something is watching you, mimicking you, and learning to talk like you. The delivery has a memory, and it's a memory that's about to become a part of your life. I was a man who believed in convenience, in the simple joy of a late-night meal. But nothing prepared me for the emptiness of that apartment, an emptiness that was filled with a terrifying, silent presence. My name is Liam, and for the past 5 years, my life had been a blur of long late nights, cheap takeout, and faceless apartments. I was in the middle of a particularly grueling stretch, exhausted and just wanting to finish my work. I was in my small, cramped apartment, the only one awake in the entire building. The silence was a heavy, oppressive presence that was closing in on me. I was just happy to have a place to rest my head, a place that felt like a sanctuary. I had no idea that I was about to become the star of a horror story, and the delivery was the director. The horror started with the silence. The apartment was unnaturally silent. No cars, no sound of people, no sound of animals. The silence was a heavy, oppressive presence that was closing in on me. I tried to call for help, but my voice was a small, weak sound that was swallowed by the silence. But then I heard a new sound, a faint, almost imperceptible sound, like a whispered hello. It was my own voice. I was confused, a little scared, but mostly hopeful. I called out to it, but there was no reply. I was a man who was lost in an apartment, but I was about to become a part of a nightmare that had been waiting for me. I was not a person anymore. I was a memory, a ghost in an apartment, a man who was waiting to be found again. The voice returned, but this time it's different. It's a chorus of voices, a symphony of my own voice, my father's voice, my own laugh, all calling his name. The voices are all around me, a terrifying, malevolent echo of my own life. I've been listened to the entire time, a captive audience in a terrifying, silent play. I turned off my phone, I turned off my flashlight, but the voices are still there. The apartment is still there. I'm in a part of the apartment I don't recognize, and the apartment is a silent, dark monument to my terror. The voices, a chilling, malevolent echo of my own, come through my own mouth, a voice that I can't escape. You're still here. They say you're still alone. I am a professional skeptic, a man who believes in facts, not folklore. But the voices, the apartment, the silence, they were all facts that were impossible to ignore. I was about to run out of the apartment when I saw something on the wall ahead. A small, almost invisible crack in the old plaster. I stopped and got down on my hands and knees, my heart pounding against my ribs, and I pried it open with a knife. I found a small, dark space. The space is filled with old, dusty belongings, a small bed, a single, old-fashioned telephone. The room is a perfect replica of my own, a replica that has been waiting for me. The horror escalated one night when I was huddled in my room, my heart pounding against my ribs. I heard a faint, low click of the front door latch. It's a sound that I had heard before, but now it's a sound of pure, unadulterated terror. The man from the closet is in the room. He hides in the bathroom, his heart pounding against his ribs, and he listens. He hears the man's footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming closer. He hears a new sound, a faint, wheezing voice, a whisper so thin and dry it sounds like it's scraping against his ear. "I know you're in there," the voice says. "I know everything about you. I know you like to hide in closets when you're scared." The voice is not the man's. It's my own voice, a chilling, malevolent echo of my own. I'm a captive audience in a terrifying, silent play. I'm a character in a horror story, and the man from the apartment is the director. I ran. I sprinted out of the apartment, but I'm not free. The horror isn't just a man. It's a memory, a ghost in an apartment, a man who is waiting to be found. Again, the horror is in the realization that I'm not a person anymore. I'm a memory, a ghost in an apartment, a man who is waiting to be found again. I am no longer a student. I am a refugee of my own life, a man who knows that the apartment is a lie, and the man from the apartment is a predator, a man who is always in touch. The voices, a chilling, malevolent echo of my own, or a ghost in my own head, a sound that reminds me that the darkness is never truly gone. I am the new custodian of the apartment's tragedy, a man who knows that some memories aren't meant to be forgotten, and some sounds are meant to be heard forever.